How come no one talks about this movie? Oh, okay, never mind. I kind of get it now. If I had a nickel for every time that amazing Tom Cruise movie made less than this should, I have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird it happened twice, right? Now I've realized that actually all my movie analysis are actually about underrated movies per se, but that's just how I feel about these movies. Come on. And I know people will go like, but what about AI? Or Catch Me If You Can? Or Terminal? Or Ready Player One? I know they could be more underrated Spielberg movies. I mean, I would even say The Fabelmans could take this award. Mostly because I saw The Fabelmans after Minority Report, but we're just gonna ignore that. But I want this movie to catch on into pop culture, okay? This film has so many great ideas, and it's a fun action thriller with great messages to it. It's a film that I could see anyone enjoying, and somehow no one talks about that. Anyways, I just want to show a different perspective or opinion on pieces of media. I don't want people to just constantly be agreeing with me. I mean, I think people liked it when they watched it. There's no doubt about that. But no one talks enough about it, despite having genius concepts. It's a movie that when people watch, they enjoy, but they never suggest it to anyone else, or people haven't seen enough. And you know, despite being a Steven Spielberg movie, I'm more reminded of a Christopher Nolan movie when I watch it. Maybe it reminds me of a Christopher Nolan movie because of the insane plot twist, inventive concepts, and messing with time and reality in a confusing story. I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all, or that it doesn't feel like a Steven Spielberg movie. It still definitely does have his flair and direction to it. However, I think that shows how varied Spielberg's direction can be, however. Well, to be fair, Steven Spielberg doesn't write any of his movies, which is probably why some of his movies have varying qualities to them. Although apparently one of the screenwriters for this movie was behind Saving Private Ryan, Dawn of the Dead, Night at the Museum, and Logan, so he's behind pretty shitty movies. And by the way, we're going to spoiler territory, so if you don't want to be spoiled, you have been warned. And also, please watch this movie now. So the plot is about these 3 people called the Precogs who can see into the future, into this sci-fi future, more specifically 2054. So the government uses this power to prevent all crimes before they actually happen. Which, by the way, is such a creative concept. I love it. It's great. It's just one of the many amazing things about this movie. Anyways, they make a department of pre-crime. That's kind of a really stupid name, by the way, but I'm just gonna ignore that. And this is where our main character, Tom Cruise, works at, aka John Anderson. No, it's Anderton. And this is where Tom Cruise works out as a cop named John Anderton. However, the prequels show him murdering someone even when he doesn't know this person and have no intent to. So now he's a fugitive and running for his life and trying to uncover the mystery of this. I love how it slowly introduces the main concept of the movie by showing the pre-crime police work and then showing how it can be executed in a fun way to create a fugitive story. You know, I love a good fugitive story, and this one has a cool sci-fi twist to it. You know, it's basically just like every other Mission Impossible movie where he goes rogue in every other movie. I mean, in the newest movie, they started acknowledging how many times he goes rogue. Wait a minute. A Tom Cruise action thriller where he goes rogue against his organization, is on the run to uncover who's really behind the cause, teams up with people and does illegal practices, and turns out that there's an old man behind everything? Is this just Mission Impossible? Anyways, I'd also like to mention that this guy realizes his wife is cheating on him, so he immediately resorts to murder. Like, dude, I know it's a difficult moment, man, but like, really? Like, what, is this guy psychopathic or something? Oh, you're sleeping with my wife now? I'm gonna murder you. Okay, whatever, man. Eventually, they establish the flaws in the system by showing how everything is flawed and nothing is 100% reliable. Colin Farrell's character does play with the idea of, is it a crime if they prevent it before it happens? They also say, if we know about the future that's about to happen, then is it the future now? Obviously not, which means that murders and crime could still happen even when they prevented the crime of the future, of the supposed future. I mean, as he says,
if there's a flaw, it's human.
Colin and Tom have created a nice rivalry between each other in this movie. One wants to keep the sandstone ways of crime because he believes it will help everyone, while Colin's character wants to change the ways and doesn't believe such a perfect system is flawless, needing to discard it. Obviously, his mindset is the correct one, we learn by the end of the movie, which is why he dies. Anderton later figures out the precogs can only see one future, the future they see, but it's not the future that actually happens. Creating a it's the lever, guys, look, flick the lever. Anderton later figures out the precogs can only see one future, the future they see, but it's not the future that actually happens, creating a dilemma of if those criminals were going to kill or not, and showing that murder can still happen just in a different way the precogs did not intend, because they only see their future. It's a little bit confusing and I had to do a second watch to really understand it, but it's pretty fucking cool. Hey, this movie actually has incredible CGI, by the way, especially for 2002. Like, I'm impressed by it by now. I mean, as obligatory and generic as it is, MCU CGI now looks way worse 2 decades later after this movie. I mean, there are a few janky points and some weird effects. Like, outside of that, I'd say it's nearly perfect. I mean, it does use this weird blue grading, like it's the Matrix but blue, which I'm pretty sure they probably did use that to kind of cover up the less stellar points of the CGI, but I mean, it still looks great. I mean, it does have a $100 million budget, so this is about what I expect, but this is still the early 2000s. We had shit like this, and this. Catwoman had the same budget, and it came out 2 days later. It looks like this. Hideous. I'm just really impressed by the CGI. Man, Steven Spielberg is really good at CGI. Never mind, I take that back, please. Obviously, as an action thriller, it has a lot of great action sequences. This movie has a great built-up, vast world. There's personalized ads, which feels like we're gonna get that in 30 years from now, actually. There's plans straight up from Harry Potter. There's cars that look really weird, but also very comfortable and very practical. This red car looks like a Tesla. There's spider bots. We could bend our bodies in this weird ass way. What the fuck? There are eye scanners everywhere. I love it. This is such a cool world that I feel like it's gonna be possible like 30, 40 years from now. Oh my god, don't even get me started with this scene. The scene where Tom Cruise actually finds the guy he's been looking for this entire time. It's the most stress-inducing, edgy scene I've ever seen in my life, especially by Steven Spielberg. I love the clues and payoffs just before it happens. Agatha being there, the billboard, the terror of if Anderton is gonna actually kill Leo or not. It's, well, stress-inducing. I love how it sets up that he has a choice and everything eventually slows down. It looks like he's not gonna kill him, and it looks like he has a choice. Makes it so that people who did predict he was gonna kill Leo Crow are relaxed and are glad that he was wrong, while people who thought he wouldn't kill him are relaxed that they guessed right. And then that legit made my heart skip a beat. This has the perfect pace to give suspense and terror, while also playing with the themes of free will and predetermined destiny. I mean, I wish they delved into that more in this movie, but it's still great. You know how many annoying quotes and essays I had to write on this exact topic in Romeo and Juliet about predetermined fate and free will and blah blah. I mean, it was really annoying anyways. And speaking of that, there's some really nice symbolism in this movie, like how Tom Cruise lost his son in water, and the precogs are underwater, maybe symbolizing losing their humanity or the most valuable and treasured possession and the thing that drives them in life. Maybe John losing his son set the dominoes in his future and his eventual murder, exactly what the precogs do. I know there's smarter people who could do better than this, but I just find it pretty cool. Also, the person that Anderton has been looking for this entire time is named Leo Crow, and crows often symbolize death. I do find it ironic, however, that like the theme is kind of running and they always mentioned everyone runs. Give My String Says Binge has this movie slogan, get ready to run, and Tom Cruise's thing is, well, running. By the way, fun trivia, this was apparently supposed to be a sequel to Total Recall, of all things, because that movie is based off the book. We can remember it was You Wholesale, which is both written by the same author, Philip K. Dick. Yeah, if you want to wear Minority Report is based off book, like every other movie. Hey, a little surprising to me, but John Williams does do the score for this movie, like every other Spielberg movie, which I find a little odd because this score wasn't exactly too exciting or really interesting in my opinion. I mean, I'm not saying it was bad, it was good, especially the action sequences, but I feel like it's just a little bit empty in my opinion. Like, he didn't really get to pop off as hard as he usually does. But I mean, it's still pretty good, I would say. I mean, I'd say the only flaws is that there's no really consequence or stakes when he's replacing his eyes. Like in this one scene with the spider bots, I thought Tom Cruise was gonna like fight them, or he was gonna open his eye, he was gonna be half blind, and then that would have been like huge stakes because he would have been like, oh my god, look, he's gonna be like half blind for the entire movie. But no, they just kind of skip past that, which not really a big fan of. I find how they reduced 90% of crime really dumb, however. Like, you reduce that in a year? Like, I understand if you're able to stop a ton of crime, but in a year and 90%? That's like the one thing that breaks the immersion in my opinion. Because that's like way too high in my opinion. I know that prequels are good, but like they're not that good, okay? Also, I feel like the ending's a little bit rushed. I like the final reveal and twist, and it helps the unreliability of the pre-crime department, but all they just go is,
in 2054, the 6-year pre-crime experiment was abandoned.
All prisoners were unconditionally pardoned and released, although police departments kept watch on many of them.
Agatha and the twins were transferred to an undisclosed location. A place where they could find relief from their gifts. A place where they could live out their lives in peace.
and that's it. Like, that's the last 5 minutes of the movie where they abandoned the Department of Pre-Crime, and that's it. Like, we don't see the reality of what happens after. But I mean, that's all those issues. It's almost perfect, I would say. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of really sad this hasn't become a cult classic in a way. Like, I mean, it truly upsets me. It has so many great scenes, inventive concepts, meaningful themes. I mean, I did spoil this movie, and you should probably have watched the film beforehand. I mean, if you haven't, watch it now, please. And if you have watched this movie already, watch it again. I mean, I just love this movie. It's almost perfect. I mean, I'm not expecting a sequel. I like this as a standalone movie, especially its ending. But like, I don't know, just more people should watch it. So, final score, 9 out of 10. So by the way, I did not know until researching even further for this video, but there's apparently a Minority Report video game. Like, what is this? It's called Minority Report Everybody Runs, which is a PS2 video game. And yeah, you can tell. Let's just say it's kind of well known for its ragdoll physics. Also, just generally looks terrible. I mean, being honest, I feel like a Minority Report game would be pretty sick to play, but I mean, this is the execution, so the technology was definitely not ready yet for a game like this. Is Minority Report like one of the only things that's been adapted to a book, movie, and video game? Outside of that, I don't really have anything else to say. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys next time.